So I was on a client call the other day, and it sort of made me realize just so how often some of the same sort of challenges and considerations come up in a web project. So let me put this to you. What do you think are some of the most common challenges that a client might want to think about getting ready for a digital experience project?
How do I create and post content faster through different devices?
Content planning, content organization.
All the time.
Yeah,
Number
content
one.
cadence, yeah. What else?
How do I make the site look better?
Sure.
So design,
yeah, like design
the
consistency,
branding,
brand consistency.
the governance around that, making sure that it's adhered to and there's not bunny rabbits all over the pages in different areas.
Yeah. I like that one.
Integrations.
Like third-party integrations.
Yeah.
How do you communicate data? How do you capture it and send it through to a CRM system or whatnot?
Yeah, because of the unique, everybody wants a digital journey, right?
Yeah.
It's the user experience, being able to get them from point A to point B to point C.
Yep.
So that's what I typically
and
find.
I think with that one, what gets missed is this sort of planning for the integration. It's like you sort of have an assumption that like, oh yeah, we have another system, but it doesn't matter. Or like it gets mentioned at the 11th hour. Well, yeah, we need to connect it to this other system. So sort of getting ahead of that is definitely going to smooth out
it's always considered, it's just, you should be able to integrate into anything. Well,
you can, but
yeah, but there's different ways to do it, and how you do it tells you what you need to know versus, and you're right, it's always on the planning side.
Right.
That's what I usually find is the most disruptive. A lot of customers want to, we should just know, right? But there could be other reasons for not doing it a certain way, and you need to kind of explore that. So I almost think the planning of it is a lot more.
And so in the context of this moment that I was having the other day, it was about accessibility.
Yes.
And the expectation that like this is a one and done kind of a thing. And that but you have to maintain sort of some governance around accessibility, and you have to review and audit. And
that's the hardest rule because I would say I always see this with customers. Well, we started out that way, but then when you see how big the site got or sites, and then you realize, they just went off the map with accessibility.
Or they didn't think about it at all. Like it's not like they wandered away and took it to some extreme over here, but they just forgot to review it again, and sort of it fell off the priority list.
Especially if they have content that's not just within the site. I always say if they start having documents. Or
I see what you mean. Like it's still site content on your site, but it's not HTML content. It's
exactly. Everybody can do the easy stuff is there, but then they're not thinking about the other side of that.
Back to the branding and sort of like the design and making your site look good. I think when you're in an actual sort of refresh project or a new web build project, the design process can feel very foreign and uncertain, and there's an expectation that like the only way to get to a new design is just keep showing me different variations, and your designer will create something that I like. And I'm shocked at how often sort of that expectation comes up. But then again, I'm not shocked, because that's sort of how a lot of people will choose a new aesthetic for their house or their furniture, like look at different variations and decide then what sort of suits them best, and then buy the one that they like. But in this world, as you know, it works a heck of a lot, more different than that, especially the way we do it at Flywheel.
Yeah.
It's a very evidence-based approach.
That's the number. I love the way you said that, evidence-based approach, because I always get asked this with customers. Why do we have to go through the wireframe and the information architecture first? I'm going, because what you're trying to do is understand what your customer wants to see in the hierarchical order they need to see.
Yeah, there's a structure that informs
exactly.
Design. And we talk a lot about needing to have your content organized and fleshed out before we get into design.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that we can design a container that holds an appropriate amount of content. Yeah. If you have a lot to say about one thing and a little bit to say about another, those two things need different pages, different templates, different designs to communicate what is a wealth of information in one case and lighter in the other case. They can't use the same template.
Yeah, it's funny because I used to use this. It's an older little tool that I had called iTribe.
Okay.
I used to track people's motion. So I created a little program that would track where your eye would go when I would
like
do
an eye
designs.
tracking.
Yeah, and then I came to the realization what you do with customers is you go, I want you to close your eyes and then open them. Yeah. What's the first things you see on the page? Where do your eyes go? How do they move? Right? We know in a website.
So I think your point is like design is more about the user experience.
Yeah.
And the presentation of information.
Correct.
And the aesthetics should almost just kind of be a natural fit based on your brand.
Absolutely.
As it applies to that digital experience.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, thank you. I think we covered a lot of those different ideas. We put this together. I wanted to ask you this on camera so that we could share something with customers and clients who are just starting out a project so they know what kinds of things to think about. And maybe you've got all this organized, but maybe some of these ideas are things that we can talk about getting you ready for so that they don't interrupt the project as we get underway.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks.
Take care.